Hello and welcome to Amethyst Star Crafting. My name is Jane Allmark and I'm a UK independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. And today I am going to show you something from the Sale-A-Bration catalogue, which is by the Bay, which is the most lovely stamp set. It really is. And what I thought we would do today is we are actually going to case the image that is in the catalogue. So this is the image, which is the lovely, let me bring it up a bit so we might be able to see it, which is the lovely cottage, and it's then done on a beautiful background. So this is on page 10 of the new Sale-A-Bration catalogue. You can get anything from the Sale-A-Bration catalogue completely for free. You have to spend a £45 qualifying order and then you can get this stamp set for free. And this is just, it's probably my absolute favourite in there because I love this sort of natural looking line drawing, and you can do so much with it. So let's get started and see if we can case this beautiful card that was in there. Now I have prepared a few things in advance because obviously we need a little bit of time to do this. So first of all, we have a card base, normal size card base, whether you're UK or international. And this is for the UK is 5.5 inches by 3 3/4. Now what I've done is I've stamped the image at the bottom completely on this panel. Then I've cut a smaller panel. Now this panel measures, let me just get my measuring piece in here. It's a bit of an odd measurement because I took it as small as I could. So it is 2 3/4 inches by 4.5. So I've taken a little bit off and I've stamped again the image in the bottom. And this is going to fit, you can actually line it up completely. This is going to fit over the top at the end. And then I have cut on a piece of copy paper because I wanted it to be fairly thin. I have stamped out and made myself a mask because what we want to do is we want to create this lovely sunset background. So the mask is going to sit just on here to actually cover up the image so we can then do some sponging on here. So I'm going to get a piece of scrap paper out and put that underneath to save my work surface a little bit. And we need some sponges, says me having, I haven't got my sponges out, so let me just get my sponges out of my pot here. And we need some, let's put my other little pot, I have little pots full of all sorts of things on my desk. So we're going to need some reddy orangey ones. So let's take a couple of sponges out here that I've got, which will work with the red orange ones. Those two I think will work perfectly. Okay, and then we need to get some ink colours out. So I am going to use some crushed curry. I am going to use some Calypso coral, and I'm going to use some So Saffron because I want something fairly sort of light coming up, and we'll work with those three colours and see how it goes. Now I am going to have to rest this quite carefully on here and make sure that it's as lined up as we can get it, because we'll do the bottom part first. So let's take the lightest colour because then we can blend through over the top. So I'm going to take my sponge, and you can do it with the what do you call them, our sponge daubers. Complete brain fade of what I was going to say. Now I'm stroking upwards because I find, particularly with the sponges, if you stroke upwards, you get more of a natural looking sort of sky coming through. So we're going to take this up like this. And just sponge it through up on the top here. I'm not going to do, you could do it with a moon or something like that, but I'm literally just going to do it with these colours. Okay, so I think that's probably all right in that one. We might come back and do some more. And then we're going to take the crushed curry, which is going to be a little bit darker. So let's have that mask in there. So we're just going to add some crushed curry and take that up a bit higher. So that's going to be darker coming in here. Let's blend that up through. Our sponges are really good because you can build up colour, and what I say is to start brush quite softly. You know, don't sort of do it really hard, just brush quite softly, and you will then get the blend coming through quite nicely. Now I think that's enough of the crushed curry, and then we're going to use the Calypso coral. Let's just hold this here, and I'm using exactly the same sponge because then it allows me to blend it through. And so I'm just doing these stroking motions quite lightly to start off with, and then I can build it up, because I've always said you can always add colour, but it's difficult to take it away. So let's just carry on sponging this up. I want it to become darker at the top, so a little bit more on the darker side, and I'm going to really sort of rub that through because I want that to come quite dark, and then I'm just going to blend that through onto these. Now this top bit is not quite dark enough, so I'm actually going to take, I think, let's put that in, I'm going to take, let's take some Cajun Craze, because that is quite a dark russety sort of colour, and I think that that will work right up in the top. So let's just take a little bit of that. I'm dabbing it off first because that really is quite dark, and again starting quite lightly. Yes, that will work much better because I want this top part to be quite dark in here. So let's just blend it through from the top, and I'm doing this in circular motions because I want it to come down quite dark. So let's take this through, blend it as we go. This is quite a juicy one, so I don't want it to blend through too much. Right, now we need to go back to the Calypso coral and do a little bit more blending right at the top here. So this is the nice thing about using your sponges. You can build up the colour as you want, so that's better at the top. Come down on the side a bit, and then I'm going to go in with the crushed curry again because I want that to really sort of blend in. I'm just going to make sure that my mask's in the way, so if I come down I'm not going to go over the image. So just clean that off a bit and then take that through on here, so we can blend that really nicely through on there, so it comes into that really nice sort of russety colours, and then bring it down. And that's why I said about building up the colours. You can always add more on, but you can't take it off. So I think that is going to be about right. So I'm just take it down on the bottom. Okay, so I'm happy with that. I think that's got a really nice sort of sunrisey colour. So let me just move these out of the way for now, because I don't think we need any more of those. Sorry if I've just caught the camera. Now we're going to take the mask off, and you can see you now have, let me move the scrap of paper away, you now have this lovely sunrise coming through. And all we need to do now is to add a little bit of colour. So let me go back to the original in here, because we're going to copy it. And we can see on, let me just fold it over. We can see on here that the house has got sort of a bit of red on it, and there's not a huge amount of colour on this. So let's get our aqua painter, and we want the... I'm going to use, let's use the colours that we've used. So I'm going to do a very light Cajun Craze for the roof. So as long as I water it down quite a lot, it should come out quite pale. Let me get my scrap paper out again so I can then test it. So we're just going to take some colour out on there. Yes, I think that's fine. I'm taking some of it off, and then we're literally just going to wash the roof, and again quite lightly. So that's the roof on there now, and we've then got the building is quite white, so I might just do just a little bit more on this. I don't want too much, but just bring it through on there like that. And then the other colours are, I would say, crumb cake and a green. So let me get my crumb cake out, which is there. Excuse me if I've knocked the light again. I'm just getting my colours out because we're doing it sort of off the hoof. So I think crumb cake on there, and then we want a green for the ground. Well, I'm going to use the mossy meadow actually, because although I think they might have used like a lemon lime twist. Let's try lemon lime twist. It might be a little bit too bright, but we'll see. So because we haven't got a huge amount of colour on this, which is quite nice. So just getting my brush cleaned a bit, and we just want a bit of the crumb cake in on here. And they've just done, let me have a look at this picture. Yeah, we've just got this sort of running through on these little pieces here as, again, quite a light sort of wash, just with a little bit of colour on here, a little bit on the building on here, and again, not very much at all. It's quite pale, so I'm just doing it on a little bit of the building here, and just down on these sort of pathways, just in the crushed curry. And it's literally just a little bit of a wash on here with quite a bit of the white showing, which is quite nice. And then there's a little bit of green, so let's add just a little bit of the green on the two pieces at the top. And I think it was probably lemon lime twist. It's difficult to tell. We will find out in a minute if we think it's, oh yes, that's quite nice. So just a little bit through on here onto some of this greenery, and then a little bit down on sort of greenery down on here like that. And then the last bit is they've put a little bit of the, what have we got on there? A little bit of blue. So I think we've got to have pool party for the sea. So a little bit of blue just for the sea. And the rest is, so let's just put some of that up. Oh, that's got a bit greeny blue. I didn't clean my brush very well, but I think it should be all right. We'll just hint on a little bit of blue round on the sea and the water just down by there. Okay, so I think that's all the colouring that we need to do. If I take back to the picture, you can see a lot of it is just, it's very sort of loosely done in colouring, so there's not a huge amount on there. So let's look at putting this together, because I think that that looks really rather good. So we have our base piece here, and this is going to be lined up so that you have a little bit coming through on the edges, which is rather nice. And we need a card base, because I'm not going to add anything to, they've used a blue on here, but I think I want to just put it completely on the white so that it stands out quite nicely with the sentiment. Yes, we're going to do that. So let's start putting this together. We've got some wet glue, because that's my preferred medium, as you know, because it allows me the wiggle room. I use this wet glue all the time, and I wouldn't do cards without it. So just onto a white card base like this, line it up the best that we can. I think that's just about right, hopefully. And then we are going to put this panel in over the top. Now, do I want to put it up on a dimensional, or do I want to leave it as it is? I think I'm just going to glue it on, because I don't want too much height to come through. So I'm going to take this and just add some wet glue on here, around on the corners. Like that. Put that in the centre, and then we can line it up. It's quite easy to see because you've got the line of the pathway coming through, so you can line it up exactly with that line. Says me going quite quiet so I can get it exactly where I want it. So where does that little pathway come on? Is it that one? I think it's that one there, isn't it? That's why wet glue is so good, because you can then line it up exactly as you want it. That on that path, that on that path, that on that little bit there, and then just straighten it up just a little bit at the top, so we've got that balanced like that. So you then have your little bit coming out from the outside, that obviously gives that sort of dimension. And then the sentiment was from there, may all your paths lead to happiness, and I've just done that on a little banner to go on there. And so I'm going to put that up with, am I going to put that up with dimensionals or not? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. How have they put it on here? I think they've put that up with dimensionals, so I am. I'm going to put the sentiment up with the dimensionals. So that just gives just a little bit of height on there. So let's just put a couple of dimensionals on here. One on that side and one up at the top there. And then that can go through from the edge. I think this is really lovely. I love the way they've done that. And as I say, once you've got your mask, you can keep your mask in your case and use it again and again. Now this is going to be lined up to that edge, and so to that edge and just down a bit like that to go in the centre. There we go. Is that straight? Yes, that's straight. Okay, so we now have this beautiful card, very simply achieved, using the By the Bay, which is the new cling stamp, free in the Celebration catalogue, on page 10, and we've cased this lovely image here. And as I say, I absolutely love this. So thank you so much for watching me, and do look forward to seeing you again. Bye-bye.